Alright, welcome back to the channel, everyone. So today I'm going to be breaking down who I think should be next for each of the fighters on the main card of UFC 318. Now, starting off with the main event, Dustin Poirier versus Max Holloway. Obviously, Poirier's retired, so there's no future for him. As far as Holloway, I see a lot of people saying, including a lot of fighters, I'm pretty sure Volk said this as well, like they want to see him fight Ilia Topuria next. And my first reaction is like, hold on, pump the brakes. Because what happened at the time where, you needed to be on at least like a little bit of a run to get a title shot? You know what I'm saying? Like, at least have like 2-3 wins in a row, right? And I know Holloway's an exception because obviously he's the BMF and everyone loves him, and he's always in these fun fights, and that's the thing. He tuned up Poirier and Gaethje in his last fights. But that being said, as far as Ilia Topuria is concerned, I just feel like as far as his legacy, he needs new fights. He doesn't need to do any rematches right now. Because as much as, Holloway was technically competitive for the first, round or two or whatever, I just feel like Ilia Topuria needs to be fully challenged by the hardest matchup in his division at this point in his career. It's done having these hype matchups and all that. Like, we need, because obviously Makhachev, that fight's not going to happen anytime soon. So the closest thing to Makhachev in this division is Arman Tsarukyan, a very complete skill set, wrestle heavy. And I would just like to see Ilia Topuria challenge, because I'm kind of tired of seeing Ilia Topuria against these fan favorites and being like minus 17,000 to win and then knocking out everyone. Like, obviously I do think that Ilia Topuria will win against Arman Tsarukyan, but I feel like that would be the most competitive in the division. So yeah, that's what I'd like next for Ilia Topuria. As far as Max Holloway, don't get me wrong, I feel like there will be appetite for that rematch in the future, just not right now. Like I said, we need to have Ilia versus Arman, settle things out in the lightweight division, then we'll move on from there. Now, for Holloway, like I said, another name there's two more names that people have been talking about for Holloway's next fight. First one is Dan Hooker. Now, Dan Hooker, obviously that would be an amazing BMF title fight, booked on any card. People would, be signing up for that every day. However, I don't think Max Holloway, obviously he just beat Poirier, who's ranked number 6, and Max Holloway's number 5. So he's not going to have that much sporadic movement inside of the rankings. And Dan Hooker is only ranked number 7. However, I just don't think Max Holloway would want to go down in the rankings because he's coming off of a really good win. So I see the other name that they're calling for is Charles Oliveira. Now, Charles Oliveira, that fight makes a lot of sense because as much as Holloway did beat Oliveira in the past, that was, ages ago, right? And not only that, Oliveira has a higher ranking, so that could be more of an appeal to Max Holloway. Because Holloway's not going to rematch Gaethje, there's no point of that. And then Arman Tsarukyan, I don't know if I want to see Holloway versus Arman Tsarukyan. Like, obviously it would be a decent fight for sure, but I don't know. Something about that matchup, I just don't love it. Like, I'd rather see Arman Tsarukyan versus like a Patty or someone with like a built-in grappling or wrestling base to combat that, because I don't want to see someone ragdoll the other. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. That's my thoughts. I think ideally Charles Oliveira, but obviously the Gaethje one could be done as well. So yeah, it totally depends on what Holloway wants to do. Give him some time to recover, and then we'll figure that out later. Now, as far as the next fight, Paulo Costa versus Roman Kopylov. Now, same thing. Paulo Costa was ranked number 13, and Kopylov is ranked number 14. So neither one of them are going to have too much movement in the rankings as far as that goes. However, Paulo Costa, I'm sure he'll probably go up 1 or 2, right? Because he's right underneath De Ridder, and De Ridder's booked. I don't think Costa's going to want a Brendan Allen matchup or a Vettori rematch at like 10 or 11. I feel like Paulo Costa, especially since he cracked that losing streak, he's back on track now. And this might be a hot take, but I'm looking at these rankings here. Like, Bahaio's booked, Cannonier's booked, Dolidze, I'm pretty sure he's fighting Hernandez. So yeah, all these guys are booked. Crazy take. I don't think Adesanya should be in the top 5 right now, simply because, I know this may sound, crazy here, hot take. If you're on a 3-fight losing streak, you should not be in the top 5. I don't care if you're losing to the best in the world. It is what it is, right? So I'm pretty sure Adesanya wanted to do a rematch with Strickland, but I'm pretty sure Strickland, the word on the street is he's a little in trouble because of that buddy who did the at the thing, and he just comes over to the fucking, hey, like, walks in like that was hilarious, man. But yeah, I think he's in trouble because of that shit. So I think I doubt he's gonna be out for a long time. But that being said, in all honesty, if I could choose between an Israel Adesanya Paulo Costa rematch and a Strickland rematch, I would choose Paulo Costa. I just feel like that fight is a little more exciting. I feel like Strickland, depending on how Adesanya turns up, but a lot of people think that Strickland just has Adesanya's number, like walk him down, address the calf kicks, and Adesanya doesn't have great boxing, so you know what I mean? Whereas Costa, as much as people are saying like, oh, he's full of shit because of the whole excuse with the wine thing and everything, I don't know. I just see that Paulo Costa's really matured in his career, and that performance was really, really good. And yeah, I honestly, the storyline's there. It sells itself. You add that as like a co-main or a feature fight of a pay-per-view. I think they should put that, like, yeah, instead of a fight night. Because obviously you could do a fight night main event with them, but obviously it's a crazy location, then sure, but I would like that on a pay-per-view. I don't know if you do that 5 rounds, so I feel like you could probably do it 3. So Paulo Costa has more of an advantage to go for a sprint. Because, yeah, Adesanya would look at that fight as, oh, that's really winnable because, I kind of styled on him in their first fight. And then Costa, he's like, no-brainer. I want that rematch back. He humiliated me. And as much as it is a big dip in the rankings for Adesanya, I just... You know what I mean? You lost to Strickland, Imavov, and Dricus, right? So the title aspirations, as of right now, have been put on hold. So yeah, I don't think Adesanya should be complaining too much because of that, because that's the thing. He can win this fight, right? As much as it is a dip, it is winnable, and I think it just makes sense. And yeah, I feel like Paulo Costa has his confidence back. And yeah, we'll just see. I don't know if he'll win that fight, but you know what I mean? It'll be an intense and exciting build-up again, and a great addition to a pay-per-view card. Now, Roman Kopylov, as much as he did lose, he didn't look the best. I just don't think he's going to go down that much because people are going to be like, well, Costa's washed, or blah, 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 right? Costa hasn't been looking great either. Costa looked really good, so it's unfortunate that Kopylov lost to him because, not that I wanted Kopylov to win, I wanted Costa to win, but people are going to be like, oh, well, you lost against a Costa with like a, 3-4 fight losing streak or something like that, or hasn't won since 2023 or 2 or something like that. But I feel like what you can do with Kopylov is give him Vettori. You know what I'm saying? As much as he did lose and Vettori is ahead of him, like you could do a Kopylov Abus Magomedov one, but I don't know. I just feel like Kopylov's stock didn't drop too much from this fight, and I feel like if you do like honestly, like I said, yeah, you can do an Abus Magomedov, you can do the Michel Pereira, but I feel like depending on where the UFC sees Kopylov, because he's not exactly the biggest star, but at the same time, Vettori is, beyond washed at this point. So I feel like they could use Vettori to be like, okay, here's Roman Kopylov. He is lower in the rankings, but you did just lose. And it's a very winnable fight for Kopylov. And just squeeze any name value Vettori has left because, I don't see Vettori going anywhere in his career anytime soon. I just feel like he's just kind of stuck there. He's just stagnant. He switched gyms, but he's still just the same kind of guy. 1-2, a little bit of wrestling, 1-2. 0 submission or danger in that. I don't know. I really question what Vettori's doing with his career. So yeah, if Vettori doesn't retire, then yeah, you can do a Roman Kopylov. I know he lost, but, it is what it is. Now, moving on. Like, that's the thing. Like, I swear, we've been having, like, fight of the, year, card after card lately. It's just crazy. Kevin Holland versus Daniel Rodriguez. Even more crazier than the BMF title fight, which is crazy, I know. But in my opinion, it was. Just because, as much as they did, or Holloway did rock Poirier and Poirier rocked Holloway, I feel like Daniel Rodriguez and Kevin Holland were, basically unconscious for moments in this fight. So I feel like this one was a lot crazier. Now, as far as who I want to see them fight next, Kevin Holland is currently... Hold on. Okay, welterweight. So Kevin Holland is currently ranked at number 13. Now, I don't know if they're going to unrank Kevin Holland because of the loss, because Daniel Rodriguez is outside of the rankings. So Daniel Rodriguez, let's just assume he's taking Kevin Holland's spot at 13. I feel like... I don't know if this was a question asked from one of the people at the press conference of the post-fight, but they suggested a Gilbert Burns matchup. And I love that matchup for Daniel Rodriguez because Daniel Rodriguez, to me, it's like Gilbert Burns, they're both older, right? I don't want to see like Gilbert Burns fed to these upcoming killers after killer after killer after killer. Like, we get it, right? He's not where he was once in his prime. Let's be honest. As far as Daniel Rodriguez, yeah, I feel like, Gilbert Burns, that's the thing. Gilbert Burns does accept anybody, though. So it's not like he'll turn Daniel Rodriguez down. And I feel like Gilbert Burns will probably look at that fight as winnable as well. Just because the age and, as much as Daniel Rodriguez looked really good, he's kind of hit or miss in this stage of his career. So it is what it is. Like, obviously, he has been winning, but, as far as, like, to the elite competition, I guess we'll see. So, yeah, I like that Gilbert Burns style. I like that matchup. And yeah, we'll just see where Daniel Rodriguez is, and maybe he wants to make a bit of a run for himself. Like I said, I don't think either Kevin Holland or Daniel Rodriguez is championship level. But who am I to say that? And, who's to say that they can't have fun matchups and kind of climb the rankings as they go, So yeah, I would like that matchup for sure. As far as Kevin Holland goes, I feel like Kevin Holland, I don't know if they're going to unrank him. You know what I'm saying? But you're looking at all these rankings behind him, right? So Kevin Holland's at 13 now, so he's probably going to go down 1 or 2. Gabriel Bonfim's right underneath him, and a lot of people are pissed because of the Stephen Thompson fight, right? So people are like, nah, you didn't win that, you didn't win that. So that's how I can see that the UFC will be like, well, technically you did win, but, a lot of the fans don't think you did, and a lot of people didn't think that Wonderboy lost that either. Wonderboy definitely didn't lose any stock in that, so I feel like they can definitely do a Kevin Holland versus Gabriel Bonfim matchup because Michael Venom Page is booked at number 15, Prates is booked at number 12, and they're not going to go ahead with Kevin Holland. Like, you know what I mean? He's not going to be rewarded for getting battered. So let's be honest. So yeah, I think anywhere from Gabriel Bonfim, yeah, I feel like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense because as much as Gabriel Bonfim can strike, he's predominantly a grappler as well. He has a lot of submissions. So I would like to see where Kevin Holland is with that because normally Kevin Holland fights these middleweights, he's like a fish out of water, right? Whereas if there's a bit of grappling in welterweight, I feel like he should be able to hold his own relatively. You know what I mean? Obviously not with the top 5, but yeah, we'll just see where that goes. Now, moving on. Patricio Pitbull versus Dan Ige. Now, we'll start off with Patricio Pitbull. I don't know how else I could say this. Nothing about Patricio Pitbull intrigues me at all. He's dull as fuck on the promotional, like the mic for the press conferences and all that. Never gives an exciting answer. Takes half of the fight off every time he fights in the UFC. Like, I don't care what he done in the other leagues. I don't care. This is the UFC. And you look at him, it's like what is he, like 36, 37, 38? Like, he's older. He's ancient for this weight class. I don't think he has a huge future in the UFC either. And I get he won and he beat Dan Ige, Dan Ige's really good. Like, he's not, top 5, but like I'd say he's a top 10 kind of gatekeeper, top 15. Like, Dan Ige is no joke. He just had a really bad performance. You know what I'm saying? So I know I was a little critical of Dan Ige, but I just wanted him to win. And yeah, I feel like Dan Ige is capable of a lot better. But yeah, as far as Pitbull goes, so Dan Ige. So where are we at here? Okay, featherweight. So Dan Ige is currently number 11, and Patricio Pitbull's unranked. So probably going to bring him up to. Dan Ige will definitely drop from that performance, probably 2 or 3. So let's just assume they throw Patricio Pitbull in at 12, 13-ish, right? So you look around. I don't know what their intentions are with him. I feel like, because that's the thing, Steve Garcia just came off a really good win. I don't think Steve Garcia would want to fight Patricio Pitbull. Obviously not because of he thinks he would lose, but I feel like Steve Garcia would accept it or expect a bit higher in the rankings. I feel like Yusuf Zalal, you could do the Yusuf Zalal one because I'm pretty sure his last fight was against, let me check here, Calvin Kattar. Yeah, and that one was quite boring. And I just don't think that they're really high on Yusuf Zalal right now. So yeah, I feel like you can do Patricio Pitbull because I hate to say it, I don't really care about Pitbull, man. I really don't. I know it's shitty to say, but yeah, it's just like I said in the other video. It's just like he's so good, he's gonna run through the division. Oh my god, everyone's gassing him up, and then it is what it is. But yeah, I feel like you can do that. Pitbull versus Zalal. You can do Pitbull versus a David Onama, not Steve Garcia, sorry. Yeah. I would say Josh Emmett because I was like, maybe Josh Emmett could bring some exciting fight out of him, just stand in front of him and wing hooks. But my idea for Josh Emmett is a lot different. I feel like, here's a little side note. I think that Rafael Fiziev should drop divisions. I feel like he should go down to 145. I know he was talking about that before he got booked against Bahamondes. I still think he should go down to 45. And I feel like Rafael Fiziev versus Josh Emmett would be an insane fight. Fight night main event. So, yeah, as far as Josh Emmett, I don't think they should give him to Patricio Pitbull. Because not only that, Patricio Pitbull will just find a way to make that fight boring. So, it is what it is. So, yeah. Do Patricio Pitbull versus like a, either as Yusuf Zalal if they want to put him up in the rankings, or like a David Onama, or maybe like a Calvin Kattar or something like that. I just don't see them giving him like a crazy, hype up matchup or a big name. So yeah, either one of those guys. Now, as far as Dan Ige goes, it was a bad performance, but Dan Ige has they call him 50K for a reason. So I don't think he's in the bad seat with the UFC. You know what I mean? I don't think he's on the naughty list. So as much as his ranking will go down, I don't think it'll be that much. Now, as far as his next matchup, I feel like you could do Dan Ige versus like a Giga Chikadze at number 14. So Dan Ige, he's at number 11, but there's two 11s for some reason. So let's just assume he's at 11. You'll go down a few spots because you got beat by an unranked guy. So yeah, I feel like you could do Dan Ige versus like a Giga Chikadze or a Calvin Kattar. Either way, get a rebound for Dan Ige, get his confidence back, because that performance wasn't it. And I feel like Giga Chikadze or a Calvin Kattar, especially at this stage of Calvin Kattar's career, is a very winnable matchup for Dan Ige, and both of those fights should be really good. I feel like I would lean towards the Giga Chikadze fight because Giga Chikadze actually comes to fight, whereas Calvin Kattar, that's not Calvin Kattar. Whatever's going on there, that's not the Calvin Kattar of old. That Holloway fight really did some irreversible damage in there, and I just don't think he's the same. So, moving on. Michael Johnson versus Daniel Zellhuber. Now, as far as Michael Johnson and Daniel Zellhuber go, both of them are unranked, so it's kind of hard to decide because I'm using the UFC's rankings here. So, I don't know, man. What are they going to really do with Michael Johnson? You know what I'm saying? Like, looking at the top of the ranking, the bottom of the rankings here, you got like a Benoit Saint Denis. They could do that and then have Benoit Saint Denis fight him in Paris or something like that. They could do him versus Grant Dawson, build Grant Dawson's name if he doesn't get chinned. You know what I mean? But I don't know. Same thing with Patricio Pitbull. Like, as much as, there was a really good win and Michael Johnson looked really well, I just don't see him having like a huge ceiling in the lightweight division because it's so deep, it's so stacked. Like, obviously, they could do a Chandler fight too, but, I feel like Chandler would probably want a bigger name, even though that would be a winnable matchup for Chandler. So, yeah, anywhere from, like, Grant Dawson or Benoit Saint Denis, for sure. If they want to move him up. If not, like, somewhere outside of the rankings. Same thing with Daniel Zellhuber. Really disappointed in Daniel Zellhuber. I thought he was going to win this, like, clearly. I feel like if, let's say, hypothetically, he won, same thing. Like, he could do Benoit Saint Denis in Paris or something like that. But, yeah. As far as that goes, well, actually, you could even do a Renato Moicano versus a Michael Johnson matchup. But then again, I just don't know if Moicano would want to fight that down in the rankings because we don't know where they're going to put him in the rankings. So it is what it is. Now, either guy, they're both outside the rankings, so it's kind of tough to decide who they're going to go with. But like I said, very disappointed in Daniel Zellhuber. He's really good. He's under Eric Nicksick, so I expect big things from him in the future. This could just be a hiccup, but being tuned up by a guy, he's 39 with, like a 25-19 record. It's just, it was really frustrating to see. Not that I want to see all these veterans get battered, but you know what I'm saying. Like, we want to see new names here, change of the old guard. But, either way, it's tough to call who they're going to go with next. And then, finally, I just want to, because this bout actually intrigued me a lot more. And, Marvin Vettori versus Brendan Allen. Now, like I said, for Marvin Vettori, you could do him, because what is he at? He's at, right here. So like I said, you could do the Kopylov fight for Vettori. You go underneath here. So Abu Smagomedov, that's if they really want to give Vettori like a bounce back to actually win, because as long as it goes past round one, which Vettori is not going anywhere, I think that's an easy win for Vettori. But yeah, I feel like they're going to probably want to make a name off Vettori and squeeze whatever relevance he has left out of him. So yeah, I feel like the Kopylov one makes the most sense. Obviously, they could do a Costa Vettori rematch, but like I said, I just think Costa wants a bit higher in the rankings, especially like he's relatively to the names in the middleweight division. He has a lot more to offer than a lot of people think, especially promotion wise. So yeah. I feel like obviously a natural progression could be Paulo Costa at 13 versus 10 Vettori, but yeah, like I said, I'd like to see Costa jump up there against Adesanya. Why not? You know what I mean? It'll be hilarious. So yeah, Vettori, I think, versus Kopylov makes a lot of sense. And yeah, I just think there may not be a lot of storyline there, but I just think, yeah, Vettori, at this point of your career, it's just going to be nightmare after nightmare because that's the thing. It's not like he's like some 40-year-old veteran type of thing. Like he has been around for a while, but I just don't see them doing him any favors. I get he's got some personal issues, but it's the UFC at the end of the day. They're really kind of like cutthroat. They don't care. So as far as Brendan Allen goes, making a fight close against Vettori is not a great look. Now, looking ahead of him in the rankings, like I said, yeah, I think Roman Dolidze is booked against Anthony Hernandez, or not Anthony Hernandez. Actually, yeah, Anthony Hernandez. Sorry. No, I was thinking of like that football person or whatever. Anyways, sorry. Yeah. As far as Brendan Allen goes, yeah, I feel like you could do probably the winner or probably the loser of Roman Dolidze versus Hernandez, or maybe the loser of Cannonier versus MVP, depending on what MVP wants to do next. Same thing. I just don't see them going crazy with Brendan Allen. Like, his style, it's just his lack of fight IQ. I don't know what he has to offer the top of the division. He was saying how it's like, oh, beating Vettori proves I can be champion. It's like, at this point, who hasn't beaten Vettori? So, yeah, as far as Brendan Allen, his future is, like, questionable. And like I said, I think a lot of this north of his rankings is really booked up and tied up right now. So I think it'll be a little while before he can return. But yeah, either or, loser of Dolidze Hernandez or the loser of MVP. Because yeah, I don't think the loser of Bohaio versus Imavov would want to fight that downward. Not only that, Imavov versus Bohaio is going to be a war. So, you know what I mean? But yeah. Or you could do the loser of DeRitter and Whitaker, which I think DeRitter is going to win. So yeah, you could do Brendan Allen versus Robert Whitaker. Because yeah, I feel like that would be a really good matchup for Whitaker as well. And Brendan Allen would be like, oh, former champion, I can prove even more to myself. So yeah, I feel like you can do that. That's my pick. I think Whitaker's going to lose, and then if Whitaker wants to stay in the sport, then yeah, you can do Brendan Allen. But yeah, that's all I got. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like and subscribe. And yeah, peace.